Hi there. Today I would like to show you the way that we set up our high volume air samples for the IAD air sampling project. Every month when the sampling stations receive their supplies, these consist of cartridges and filters, which are the sampling media for the vapor samples. Now, the first thing that they're going to do in order to install one of these high vol samples is to take a look at their protocol, and this comes with the supplies also. And you should be here on a Tuesday if you're here to do any work. It should be on a Tuesday. So you look at your protocol, and let's say today is 2/5/2013, which is the first Tuesday of January. So you have a sample to set up from February 9th to February 10th, which is what we have right here. A filter and a cartridge to take that sample with. So why don't we go ahead and start with the cartridge, which has arrived to us in a muffled aluminum foil. These are baked in an oven so that any organic materials are burned off of them. And then we take this big fatter gasket and we put it on the bottom. Now the resin that's inside of the cartridge is VXAD, and it's a porous spherical aggregate, basically, that the chemical compounds stick to the surfaces of these. So we put this into the cartridge holder with that O-ring in place. So we drop this down into here, just like that. And you see this O-ring fell out, which you need to check and make sure it's there as well, because this is the cartridge holder, and this O-ring goes into the top of it. There's another one that's similarly sized, but you'll see that when we put it into the sampler, that O-ring is actually in the motor mount. So basically the cartridge is ready to go here. You'll notice that I have to put gloves for this work. Now here is my filter cassette, filter holder. Take the protective shield off. Now I take the top of the cassette and carefully open up the filter, the quartz fiber filter that's been sent with the monthly supplies. Now, you can do this with a pair of forceps or without. The forceps are there just if you've made a big mess of things or you're just having trouble. But usually, like I am here, you're in a controlled environment like the shack that's on the site. All our sampling stations have an enclosed facility where you can do this work without being interfered with by weather. So basically I'm in the shack here. So this is a muffled filter, which I am going to go ahead and put onto the filter cassette bottom. And I can use this. I'd rather use the muffled foil than the gloves, but actually the tweezers would probably be the best thing to use. If you don't have any forceps at your site, you should. Just email me and I will send it to you. So now we have our filter in place. Take the top of the filter cassette, put it back on, and screw these nuts down. It's fairly tight. You don't want to overdo it because this isn't where the seal is really made. The seal is below it. You want to be certain that everything's tight, because that will ensure a good seal for the vacuum that the sampler pulls. So now, having checked the protocol, everything looks fine. I'm installing a sample to run from February 9th to February 10th, 2013, starting 9 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock in the morning. And the object is to collect 815 cubic meters of air, have it pass through the machine, and have the suspended particulates be here in this phase, and have the cartridge hold another phase. So therefore you see our vapor samples consist of two components. The TSP, suspended particulates, and the cartridge. So anyway, you fill out, every Tuesday you fill out your site visit sheets. Look like this. You say Eagle Harbor, you got the weather, you got the temp, you got the date, you got the time. And just to be clear, write down the timer on the machine that you're doing anything to. and say what you're doing. Did you set up a sample like I'm doing today, or did you collect a sample? And put a check mark there or an X. Just let me know what happened. And check the MIC, of course, but that's a different story. Check the weather tower with the meteorological instruments, and make a note of how the wind speed sensor turns. If it doesn't look like it's jarring or wobbling or anything like that, if everything looks normal. And also take a look at your wind direction sensor. Make sure that it also is rolling on its bearings evenly and not wobbling or anything like that, or anything that's unusual about the weather instruments. Okay, so now we have our cartridge holder and we have our cassette, and we're going to take it out to the machine, cover it up. Now, this being February, when we get out there, you'll notice that the sample saver will not retract because it's unplugged, and of course it's hidden down inside its own compartment. Because in the wintertime we unplug those so that they don't freeze up or break the chains and things like that. So I think that that pretty much covers it. We will take our cassette and we'll take our cartridge holder and we'll go over to go out to the machine and hook it all up. So now we have our sampling media installed, and we are ready to set up the high volume air sampler to collect a sample. We've got our filter protected in the filter cassette holder, and we've got our cartridge tube with the cartridge installed, and the big O-ring in the bottom here, and then this O-ring in the top of the cartridge holder too. Another thing that has to be taken notice of is the presence of this O-ring here and the motor mount, which will create the seal between the bottom of the cartridge holder on this flange here once you tighten it down. So the first thing we'll do is take our filter cassette and clamp it down in place up here at the top of the sampler. One side down first, and then gradually screw it into place. Go on opposite corners just to try and tighten it evenly. Go to these corners. Get it tight. You can see that the inlet throat will move around a little bit, but that won't happen once you get the cartridge holder in place. So now, come down, take your cartridge holder, motor mount into a position where you can get yourself in, hold it at an angle, bring it up. Then you're just kind of, you see that? There's the flange of the cartridge holder right there. Just drop the nut down over it and start screwing the nut down. And the O-ring that sits there between those two faces create a nice vacuum seal. And now that that's tight, what you want to do is connect the cartridge tube to the nut on the bottom of the inlet throat up here. You know the inlet, there's a nut sitting there, and this is what you want to do. You want to attach your motor mount first, and then notice the application of the springs so that it moves. You've got some freedom there. Just take a look and eye up where everything is at. Then hold on to the cartridge too. See, when you install it, hold on to this so that you get the threads started fairly well and that everything goes smoothly. Look up there, push it up. There it is, see? Slide right on. You want to keep turning the nut, and while you're turning it, keep pulling it up, pulling the springs up, so that you know you've brought this nut down far enough that its use of creating the seal is actually happening. So there's that. Make sure your motor mount nut is tight. You're good to go. So like I said, if we are going for a February 9th sample, this is Tuesday, February the 5th, then I want to say it's Tuesday, which this clock here does not at the moment. But that's okay, because we can advance the timer wheel if it lags. Take note that it says if you want to set it, you turn it clockwise. So we are going to say that it's Tuesday at 9 a.m. Time that I'm at the station now, here at Eagle Harbor. And I want it to start on the 9th. So it's going to be Friday the 9th. I want it to turn on. So I want it to turn on at 9 a.m. So I see Friday 6, 8, 9 a.m. Put my on thumb screw on the wheel, tighten it so that it won't move when it hits the catch. It needs to be tight, because if it's not tight, then the passage of the wheel itself will just push the thumb screw along and it won't do anything. And then, you know, you're not going to come back, so you want it to shut off on Saturday at 9 a.m. which is where I've set the off thumb screw. Pretty much, that's how you set them up. That's exactly how you set them up. And everything's in place, so what we'll do is put our lid down. Well, we got to take the protector cover off. I forgot that. So that we've got the aluminum cover to carry it back and forth from the shack. And I'm going to turn it on here in a minute, which you should do every Tuesday, even if you're installing or taking down. Before you uninstall a sample or before you leave after installing a sample, turn the machine on and make sure that its vacuum is secure. You want to make sure that your magnehelix is running within a range that is acceptable. Within, let's say, 0.2. Okay? So, we'll turn this guy on. See what happens. This unit has been calibrated before in the winter visit in December, late November, to run at about 2.2, and that set point calculation is based upon the barometric pressure and the temperature at that point in December, and then the gauge that's in the inlet throat dictates the motor speed after that. We just set it at that point. So we'll turn it on here. run for about 5 minutes, just to make sure that everything seems okay, and then shut it down and record your time of start on your field, on your site visit sheet, and also on your field data sheet for your site. So now you pretty much checked it out. You've pretty much checked it out, and you know that it's going to start up at the proper time. So you just go ahead and shut this down. So close it. The bed's down. And that's pretty much all there is to installing the cartridges and filters according to the SOP for IAD and sampling. It's very straightforward. That's all there is to it.